Penguin Random House Audio presents Talk, the Science of Conversation and the Art of Being Ourselves. This is the author, Alison Wood Brooks. Note to listeners, this audiobook includes a downloadable PDF containing visual supplements and the appendix from the printed book. For Sarah. Introduction. Years ago, my third child, a sweet, scrappy girl who followed on the heels of two raucous older brothers, said, "Love you," for the first time and smooched the tip of my nose. My heart swelled. Though I am a serious scientist who is not supposed to feel outsized human emotions, in that moment, a spring of hot, fat tears welled up at the bottoms of my eyes. After 15 months of feeding, rocking, singing, working, smiling, crying, and mostly silent screaming, hearing the words "love you" fall out of her sweet mouth was a miracle. This was a moment for baby books, love songs, fairy tales. It was only after I tucked Charlotte in her crib, closed the door gently, and crept almost down the hall that it hit me. My daughter had said, "lick you," as in, "I'm going to lick you." Then she'd licked the tip of my nose. Blame gaming aside, because clearly it was her fault, missteps like these are not unique to conversations with children who are just beginning to acquire language. Conversation is humbling for children and adults alike. We trip and stumble through moments of awkwardness, discomfort, tension, and boredom, in hopes of discovering learning, joy, progress, and connection. And not all conversational problems are simple mishearings. Some years before the lick incident, over a dinner of soup dumplings in a trendy restaurant downtown, I worked up the courage to tell my good friend that I wasn't sure about her boyfriend. I'd been thinking about it for many months, probably over a year. He was okay, I said, but she was spectacular. I was worried about her happiness, her future. She received my feedback graciously. She didn't seem entirely surprised, and she engaged with me about my viewpoint. When her eyes became a little misty, I switched to a different topic. I knew she'd heard me, and I didn't want to push it. 2 days later, a text from my friend popped up on my phone. Did she want to talk more? Was she ready to open up about the struggles in their relationship or her own doubts? Nope. It was a photo of a diamond ring glinting in the sun. I recognized her hand, the same red nail polish she'd worn 2 nights earlier at our soup dumpling dinner. Her boyfriend had asked her to marry him, and she'd said yes. Though I thought our conversation had gone smoothly, and I was proud that I'd worked up the courage to share my perspective, I had not helped my friend. And I hadn't just misheard her, I had misunderstood her. In her pensive quietude, I thought she was welcoming my views, on the verge of opening up about how she was wondering about him too. In reality, she had already helped pick out the ring, and she didn't know how to tell me how misguided my advice was. In response to her photo text, I wrote back swiftly, "Wow, he's a genius. This ring is gorgeous, just like you. I hope you're absolutely over the moon." Privately, I hoped my enthusiasm would help erase the misguided feedback I'd delivered 2 nights earlier. I hoped she'd forget how I'd raised the wrong conversation topic at the wrong time and misread her cues. In every conversation, we make thousands of fleeting micro-decisions about what to say, how to say it, and when. Some of the decisions go well, and others don't. Even normal, well-intentioned, perfectly reasonable choices can create problems, from tiny fissures to aggressive ruptures, in our connection. Sometimes we can feel that something we've said has negatively affected a conversation or a relationship. But sometimes we don't know that something's gone wrong or why. Sometimes problems pass fleetingly, no big deal. But sometimes our conversational missteps can have big consequences, from unease, confusion, and awkwardness to hostility, depression, and heartbreak. Even though we do it all the time, conversation is surprisingly tricky and high stakes. In fact, it is one of the most complex and uncertain of all human tasks, one of our most cognitively demanding feats. There are two key reasons for this, which we'll group broadly under the headings of context and purposes. Context. The music video for Ariana Grande's 2020 song Positions portrays the singer as the President of the United States. Everything around her keeps changing. She's in the Oval Office on a phone call, her chief of staff whispering in her ear. She's in a boardroom filled with world leaders energetically debating something important. She's at the podium in the briefing room backed by press secretaries and aides, addressing rows of eager journalists. She's careening across a snowy front lawn, walking small dogs. The rapid set changes in her music video are a lot like the context changes in our conversational lives. Every factor of our environments, who's there, what we're talking about, where it's taking place, when it's happening, why, and how, can change in quick succession. Even small shifts. Someone pulls up a chair, turns on some music, brings out a board game, dims the lights, walks outside, or simply changes the subject, are important. And each shift in conversational context asks us to adjust, to read the room and bring our best self as we shift nimbly and not so nimbly from one moment to the next. Purposes. One of the trickiest aspects of our ever-changing conversational context is that we all have different, often competing priorities. Our purposes, our reasons for engaging in any given conversation, are vastly complex and dynamic. We might want to give a friend space to cry, avoid agreeing to a low wage, learn something new, be a sounding board, understand what's going on in someone's mind, have fun, vent, persuade our partner to do something for us, or to do something for another friend or stakeholder, and so on. Sometimes we have many conflicting goals within the same conversation, and sometimes we have goals we're not even aware of. Imagine a conversation with a direct report about choosing artwork for the office, for example, where we think we simply want to get this task taken care of and order aesthetically pleasing art, not admitting to ourselves that our other key goals include actually sounding like we know anything about art and making sure the direct report doesn't buy the hideous piece he likes. Yes, even in seemingly easy conversations, our partners have their own goals that we need to divine and reconcile. At its essence, conversation is an ongoing act of co-creation in pursuit of all manner of needs and desires, a stream of micro-decisions delicately coordinated between multiple human minds, as the context changes at every turn. We do it frequently, so it feels like we should be experts. In reality, we are amateur builders. But I bring good news from the world of science. We can learn to do conversation better. We can be more astute at assessing and adapting to the context. And we can be more mindful of our purposes and how they shape what we choose to say and do. And here's the best part. Learning to converse even a little more effectively can make a big difference for the quality of your close personal relationships and friendships, for how you come across in your everyday interactions, for your professional success, for the impact your existence will have on the world. Will this book teach you the secrets to splendid party repartee? The key strategies to becoming a savvy and empathetic leader? The verbal tactics to charm your date? Yes, though perhaps not in the way you imagine. Being good at conversation requires more than using specific words or magic phrases. We all have too many far-ranging conversations to begin to imagine that we can follow the same script. Plus, we can't script how our partner will respond. Communicating more effectively doesn't mean using all the right words all the time, or applying a finite set of communication tactics, or avoiding fissures, or pretending those fissures are not there. Conversing well means expecting problems, noticing them, and working to solve them as best we can. And, knock on wood, having some fun along the way. Only then might we coordinate our micro-decisions.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?